Great. So,
Yes, Chandrajit.
first of all, a very good afternoon to all of you, and thanks a lot for taking out time to join in this wonderful initiative. A very good afternoon to all the students from all across the country. A very good afternoon to all the facilitators, center managers, regional leads from Tata Strive, all the principal leads, and of course, needless to say, Amaya for taking out time for this fantastic initiative that we had been actually dreaming to conduct since some time. So, in this next 1 hour, what we are going to do is we are going to have a very quick understanding of the advancements that the technological domain or the various roles in the technology field is going through, or what are the future opportunities for our learners, for the global opportunities, national and as well as local level opportunities. So, just to quickly introduce, this session will be hosted by our very own Amaya, who is our Chief Operating Officer. He has been serving Tata Group since last 25 years and headed various key roles in the Tata Group organizations. Right now, he is the man in the chair and providing us fantastic directions, guidance, and to grow our operations in many forms. Quickly moving to our first in the, it's not in order of importance, but it's just for everyone's understanding. So Mr. Guha, Mr. Arijit Guha, he is the Vice President of Inspira, Vice President Sales, which is a leading cybersecurity service providing organization. He brings in more than 2 decades of experience in business growth, and he is cultivating various strategic partnerships in the IT industry. Through his leadership, there are various IT solutions, basically at a global level, that has been provided by the organizations that he has dealt with. And he has a specialization in cybersecurity, big data analytics, networking, and smart solutions. He has been instrumental in terms of providing innovative solutions to his customers, and he has been awarded various times and got some various recognitions nationally as well as globally. Moving to the next guest speakers, Mr. Shiladitya Malik. He's the co-founder of Smart Winner, which is one of the leading global sales enablement platform. He is an MBA with 22 years plus experience in the technology and consultative selling and in executive education. So he, along with his team, is providing he's driving the sales productivity of various organizations and consults global level organizations to enable the sales effectiveness of the industry. And he has been invited as speakers at various international conferences, and his insights on the future of work, sales enablement, and AI in corporate training. That's what he has been providing. Last but definitely not the least, we are pleased to have Colonel Santosh, who is the Chief Technology Officer, DFIR at SysTools, with 25 years plus extensive experience in cybersecurity, digital forensics, cyber laws, information security, cyber audit, and incident response. He has retired from his services from Corps of Signals as an Army veteran. He has served for Indian Army for 23 years. We are pleased to have you, sir, over here. He has been a member of CII, Task Force on Cybersecurity, over various years. He has been mentoring hundreds of cybersecurity enthusiasts across various renowned institutions like Rashtriya Raksha University, Computer Society of India, the National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Science. These are few of them. So with this in place, once again, I extend this warm welcome to all of you. Very pleased to have all of you over here. And I would request Mr. Shiladitya Samadar, who is our principal lead operations, he leads the entire operations vertical on behalf of Tata Strive, to kindly enlighten the gathering with the work that we have been doing as Tata Strive over the past just slightly more than a decade's time now. Over to you, Shiladitya.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chandrajit. Hope I'm audible to all. A very warm welcome to each and everyone, and especially to Mr. Guha, Mr. Mallik, and Lieutenant Colonel Santosh. Uh, Tata Strive was envisioned in the year 2014. It was still at a vision phase when initially the team came in, and at that point in time, the team was primarily senior management people who had come together with a vision that there is a demographic dividend that India was is enjoying at this point of time, and the Tata Group, which in a fragmented manner was contributing to skills education and vocational education across multiple locations. Amay sir has a raised hand.
I'm hearing some echo. Is everyone else also hearing?
So, Colonel Santosh, if you don't mind, if you can just mute yourself, I think that will resolve. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Thanks.
Thanks. So way back in 2014, when the team came in together, and 2015 July, the first center was launched. The first center was a rural center in a village called Bhakri Khas in Aligarh. And from that day of July 2015, today we are more than 150. We have cumulatively operated more than 150 locations and centers. We are present across 22 different states of the country, from starting from locations as high altitudes as Chushul in Leh Ladakh to Trivandrum in Kerala. We are operating centers in Ekta Nagar in Gujarat to as far as Agartala in the east, or Assam in the east. So we have definitely seen the length and breadth. The organization today has grown from strength to strength. We have more than 50 different courses in our course offering kitty. We also cover about 15 different sectors, from prominent one being BFSI, hospitality, digital being a very, very strong offering, which has grown in the last 2-3 years, especially post-COVID. Our strong presence in cybersecurity, AWS, Java full stack developers, UX, UI designs have been the four main courses in the digital offerings that we have. Today, Tata Strive also boasts of numerous awards, from our initial awards, which were awarded to us for our work in the sector of skill development. We have won numerous laurels, which have been in the sector of skill development, in the sector of vocational education, a few awards for our excellence in processes in human resource development. We have also got awards for our entrepreneurship skill development program that we do. So broadly, this has been the overall growth of Tata Strive. Last few years, we have also diversified in terms of vocational education. The broad four areas where we wanted to impact was first with direct employment. So domain-led training, which would enable someone to get employment. The second set of area where we wanted to impact was to enable livelihoods. So in Odisha, we have an ITI program where we are training learners on life skills. We have multiple other college programs where we are training them on life skills, which enables one person to get employment. We are also working very closely with the trainers ecosystem in the country. We are training them for ensuring the overall quality delivery of vocational education in India improves. And on that front, we have been working with various sector skill councils, organizations like NIMI, across various different states, especially Odisha, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Delhi, where we have trained the trainers of ITIs and other vocational institutes. And in turn, they have gone ahead and created a huge impact for us. While we were about 1 million close to in the 2020s, by 2025, we would be about 2.5 million that we intend to touch. Today, we have touched about 2 million. We are expecting to touch 2.5 by mid of 2025. And finally, we also work very closely with the government machineries and other partners to create courses in terms of awareness, and also we have a counseling platform that helps learners decide upon their career journey. So broadly, these are the four areas where Tata Strive work can be bucketed into. Having said so, I'm sure all of you coming from the digital world would have seen a lot of our footprint, our LinkedIn profiles, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, and taking time in what we do, I'm sure we all know what we do. But I thought these are certain important milestones that I should be sharing along with everyone. Thank you again for making time and coming to us, and looking forward to an next 45 minutes to an hour of learning in the digital world. Thank you. Over to you, Chiranjeev.
Thanks a lot, Shiladitya, for this wonderful introduction about Tata Strive, what we are doing. Yes, it indeed gives us some immense pleasure that we have been recently, once again, awarded as a great place to work. And with that in place, I would request to set the stage on fire. So over to you, Amaya, Mr. Shiladitya Malik, Mr. Arijit Guha, and Colonel Santosh. We are really
Thank
eagerly
you.
looking forward to this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chiranjeev. Thank you, Shiladitya Samadar. I couldn't have asked for a better mix on the panel. So let me start by thanking Shiladitya, Colonel Santosh, and Arijit for taking time off and sharing their insights with the students and our learners as well as our facilitators. I must inform all of you that while we have our key members of the corporate team who have joined in on this particular link, but the link is being casted across the country in all our centers. So from across the center, students are tuned in. Apart from that, I do want to reiterate the objectives. Today is all about our learners and facilitators or trainers who are training students for jobs and careers in the digital space. It is about sharing our insights, your experiences. All of you have more than 2 decades of experience in the industry, sharing those insights so that we inform as well as we inspire our learners to shape their careers in the industries that all of you come from. So having said that, why don't we start while the round of introduction was done by Chiranjeev. It is always good to listen from practitioners, all three of you, about the industry, about the domain, because each one of you, as I said, it's a mix of 3 different perspectives for me. One, Inspira being a service industry, working with customers globally. Shiladitya, you run a platform organization, which is a mix between products and services. And Colonel Santosh, you are leading development of various tools and in a very interesting space of cyber forensics. So it's a very interesting mix. Why don't we hear from all 3 of you about the domain and the work that you do? But with a twist, I would like you to inspire students for making their careers. If they have to make a choice about their having aspirations to have careers in your space, why would they think? Why should they think about it? So why don't we start with that? Arijit, can we start with you, please?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Amaya, for setting up the platform, and thanks, Shiladitya and Chiranjeev. Chiranjeev has already introduced me. I mean, it requires more introduction, so already has interested a lot. Still, I would like to introduce myself in this platform. So thanks, everyone. This is Arijit Guha, and I'm in the capacity of Vice President Sales for Inspira Enterprise. It's been nearly 8 years I've been associated with this organization. Prior to that, I have worked in organizations like Siemens, Panasonic, and so on and so forth, right? So my journey has been, starting from that date way back in 2003-4, when, there was erstwhile all those unified communication things, right? We used to pick up phones and call up our clients, and maybe the discussions also which used to happen, mostly it's audio. So we have seen the evolution from audio to video, right? So from that day, the technology has started, and then sharing contents in those video. So before COVID, it has already started, but not in full pace at that point of time, I should say. So mostly the enterprises and the banking sector especially used to deal with all this video conferencing and stuffs. Slowly the technology has evolved, not at the fast pace which is presently happening. And then, cybersecurity came into the picture. So at that point of time, what we have heard of are only firewalls and those WAF devices, right? So those were all device-oriented technologies. When you put up a device, you feel yourself very secure. But with time, technology has evolved, it has become more complex. And of course, in today's date, we face a lot of issues when it comes to making a small transaction also, or buying something or whatever it is, right? So we have to be secured, and we check it maybe 1,000 times before we make a final confirmation to whether to our clients, sending a quotation to our clients, or making a small amount also, paying somewhere. So you have to secure yourself before making all those kind of things, right? So the technology has evolved from there, from a single box to solutions which are in every way, which is circling around you, right from what should I say, a SaaS technology, or a SIM, the logs which we see every day. So whatever we do, we send a mail or we send a printout, whatever, there are logs, right, which can be monitored. And we have got multiple technologies along with that. So with SIM, there comes the SOAT technology, the UEBA, and slowly the AI ML is also coming into that, right? So now you don't require a person who is going to sit in the computer and monitor the logs. So it's just the machine learning which has come into the scene. So that's how the technology has evolved. And now, not only the cybersecurity part, but we have added data analytics space also to it, right? So whatever logs we are getting it, right? So that can be stored in the form of a data warehouse or in a data lake format. And then you get an analytical piece to it, right? So this is how the technology has evolved around us, and that's been my journey, right? And I've seen organizations where they were, they used to have very basic technologies in the beginning, but slowly, I should say, especially the BFSI segment, they have evolved a lot. Because of the cyber threats and everything, they have evolved in a big way, starting from the cybersecurity domain as well as the data analytics, and now the AI piece also, right? So that's all from me.
No, thank you, Arijit. Sheila, Ditya, coming to you, it's why does or what makes platform and product organization like yours an exciting space for someone who is fresher off the college, wanting to start their journey and make a career? And a little bit about your story as well.
Sure. Thanks, Amaya. And again, very, very good afternoon to all of you. The introduction has already been given, but just a background. So I have got around 23 years of experience in technology consultative selling and executive education. And incidentally, I started my career with Tata Consulting Services. And to have a technology background when you are an entrepreneur, that's that's a very, very powerful thing to have. When we talk about our company, essentially what it does is that it's a sales enablement platform. So when you have very large sales teams, so if you have got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, largest customer has got 65,000 sales reps across 10 countries, 20 countries, 30 countries, then you need a sales enablement platform which helps to improve the productivity of a sales force, right? So for example, if you're launching, so we work with incidentally 5 of the top 10 global pharma companies, and 4 of the largest BFSI companies in India, for example, more than 3.5 lakh users. Now, if just imagine today, if say ICICI Bank is launching a new credit card, how do they inform their team about the features and benefits of that card? When you have got 50, 60,000 people, you cannot bring them together in a conference room and talk to them, right? So they use our technology to kind of drive that. Or when HDFC Life launches a new product, how do they drive the conversation skills so that the sales team can effectively communicate the features and benefits of this product? So we have a AI-driven role play where the sales rep can actually do a real-time conversation with a virtual AI customer, and the virtual AI customer will ask him all the different questions which a normal customer will ask, right? And they can do, as we say in cricket, net practice is more important. If first you should get the net practice done, right? So there are different technologies, but the point I'm talking about is that we are a product company, and in a product company, the focus is always about application and solving customer problems. What we see sometimes, when we come from college, when we are fresher, we are focusing a lot on the syntax of the code, and we are talking about lead codes, for example, that can we solve this problem in the most clever way, right? But actual enterprise business is not about solving problem in the most clever way. It is, number one, identifying what the customer problem is, right? And it takes some insights to identify the customer problem. And second, actually work in a collaborative way. So we don't want the code to be written in one line so that no one can understand. After 1 month, I can also will not be able to understand. But write it in a way so that other people can maintain that code over a period of time. And being a product company, the focus is that, see, in a service company, what happens, maybe I will be in one project for 3 months, 6 months, then I will go into another project, right? So there is one kind of dynamics. But in a product company, you're working with the same product and you kind of try to associate yourself with that product. So your decision is going to stick around for a longer time. So you only have to fix that problem after 1 year if there is a problem. And one last thing I'll talk about, and we will obviously continue this conversation, is that when you deal with product companies which deals with large enterprise-wide data, then some of the things when we do a project in college, we are just thinking about solving the problems, right? So okay, there should be this page, it should list the items, and I should be able to do some transaction. But when you are actually doing it for a product company, especially like us, which is in a very regulated industry, both life sciences and financial services are highly regulated industry, then we have to also think about, number one, scalability. What happens if I want to assign these things to 10,000 people, 50,000 people? So normally a lot of our normal code will not work. So we have to think from that part. And the second part we have to think about is, what about the security aspect of it? Is it a secured code, right? And these are some of the things we need to keep in mind, as and when we are transitioning into from fresher into a product company. So that would be my initial thoughts, Samaya.
Thank you, Shiladitya. I love the analogy of smart winner providing the net practice for sales workforce across the globe. Let me come to Colonel Santosh. Amazing to have you on the panel, and you have played various roles, served the army, and retired there, and then started working on the cybersecurity space. It would be wonderful to hear from you why forensics is such an exciting space to be, and what are your initial thoughts for the students who are listening intently and wanting to hear from you, Colonel Santosh?
Yes, firstly, thank you, Amaya, Chiranjeev, and Shiladitya. I will also like to thank Ajitesh, who actually connected with me for this initiative. To tell you, you asked of the journey. My journey started from a very historical and pictorial place called WAI, which is 90 kilometers from Pune. And today I'm sitting here only in my farms and actually addressing the students. So that is how the journey started in the army. 23 years in the army, doing technical work. I joined the Corps of Signals, where I was doing IT, cyber, forensics, anything cyber under the cyber umbrella. And specialization was forensics, because what I realized there in the early 2000s, that there were very few people who were into the investigations. And in the country also, there were very few people who actually were doing this kind of task, and especially in the army. So I chose this as a challenge, and I took this up, and I was the first person who started forensics as a subject and forensics as a, you can say, a service within the army itself, because there are a lot of investigations which needs to be done there too. And I was lucky enough to be serving or get a chance to serve in Ministry of Electronics and IT in CERT India. I headed the India's forensics division for 2.5 years. So there I was able to work with NIA, CBI. So all the exposure which was required, and investigative kind of exposure where this kind of work was required. So that's how I entered into this field. I nurtured with the help of the organization itself, grew up. So it was a very, you can say, I was very lucky to get this exposure and experience, because this is a very niche field. People don't get opportunities in this field. Next is that when I was within the services, within the government, I realized that lot of exchequers money was going into tools, product development services, which the product used to come from outside. So I decided, why can't we build our own tools and products in this segment? So that's why I took an early retirement, and I ventured into the corporate. My first corporate was ISEC Forte Technologies, where I was the vice president. Within 2 years, we launched 5 different hardware products in the forensic segment. And now presently I've shifted to SysTools, which I'm the CTO, Chief Technology Officer here, which is a pure data company. We do anything and everything related to data, whether it is data recovery, data wiping, data forensics. Now We just launched our, you can say, data wiping tools and email forensic solutions. So I thought I wanted to be in a very narrow field, but a niche field of forensics. Very few people are, and I wanted to motivate a lot of people or students to join this and make it as a career. Even it's an expensive field, but making a career is very important, which is there. Next thing, what I felt is that we work in the DFR segment, DFR, digital forensics and incident response segment. So apart from the products, even the consulting, how to build forensic lab, the services, how to give incident response services in case of a cyber incident, and the capacity building part also, I overlook all this, look globally for SIS tools. And regarding mentoring, I would like to specially mention it because your initiative itself speaks of that. I do a lot of mentoring. I have launched a magazine, especially for forensics. It's called Digital Forensics Magazine, and a lot of mentoring of college students who want to get into this field and make this as a career. So here I'll stop for my introductory remarks.
I'm going to request you to continue on that note because that's the perfect note to continue. When I interact with our cybersecurity students, and when we see placements, Colonel Santosh, we see a lot of placements in either application security, network security, monitoring, SOCs teams, or sometimes even supporting audit teams, authoring reports, or helping doing analysis. But very little or very few of our learners, while they have done some internships with of Maharashtra's forensic department, but very few of our learners are starting careers in forensics. But what would be your advice to someone who aspires to get into forensics? Is, first of all, forensics a field that freshers can look at? What are the skills that are needed? What would be your advice, since you also mentor a lot of students?
So let me tell you, forensics is the place to be in as on date. If you see the global stage also, India does a business of more than 10 billion in forensics, and in next 1 decade, it is going to increase by at least 16% of the CAGR. You can say the highest in the world. Not even the America is also not aiming at that much of growth within this field, whereas Southeast Asia is looking at that. Now, when you speak of forensics as such, forensic, any new technology coming in, crimes happen and you have to do investigation. So initially we were restricted to computer and mobiles, but as on today, you must be hearing of cases of deepfake. So we have various different forensic stream fields coming up, whether it is social media, networks, SCADA, IoT. So everyone requires different kind of expertise in that, and everyone cannot expertise in all of that. With 20 years or 27 years personally of my career, I have expertise only in 3 to 4 fields, and the new fields which are coming up, we catch up to that particular thing. Once you say that, yeah, is there a scope for student? There's very much scope for student, but people or students don't know how to approach it. Now, let me tell you, for example, I'll take a normal forensic laboratory, which is there. A government, you mentioned the laboratory, so I'm taking example of a laboratory. So how many people work there? So they are, you can say, analysts, they are analysts, they are lab assistants, they are, you can say, a managerial post, there you have the expert post. So in that case, you see, you require an analyst who may be a diploma holder, you require specialists who may be a BTech or PhD holders working in that. So there are different job roles within a lab itself. So there are so many job roles of different, and people also ask me whether I should be a BTech to enter this field. That's also wrong. Even if you're BCS or something who have a computer knowledge about, he can enter any one of the job roles, like a lab assistant. He doesn't have to be a BTech or a PhD holder in that particular sense. So there are a lot of job roles within a lab itself. Other than that, if you ask me for the job roles, let me tell you, I mentor a lot of people and I deal a lot with academia. Even they are freelancing appointment. There are shortage in academia. Every multinational has an incident response team. So you have job roles within the corporate also. You have job roles within the government also. You have, so this field has just opened up. It's just opened up, and you just have to find the right space. And with it, but I started with a caveat that there are so many within forensic. There are so many sub verticals. You have to hold on to few of them, and then only you can get into this field. So this is a field to be in. This is a field where but there's again one more second thing. You need a mentoring and internship if you have to go to do this field, because in academia, they don't give you access to the commercial tools because it's a very costly field to get into. So you have to do hands-on experience, like in the form of internship with some laboratory, with some corporate, with some freelancer or something. Then you are industry ready to get into this field.
No, thank you. I think I've taken two to 3 points that stuck with me. I think one is depth in one or two fields, because it's a vast area, right? Cybersecurity, forensics, especially, also the number of tools that are there. But depth in a field that you choose is important to shape your careers, and start with internships, getting your experience on the tools, on the and access to right mentors. On that note, if I come to Shiladitya, to you, with respect to internships, your organization, Smart Winner, also works with a lot of freshers. You support internships as well. What has been your experience, and from that experience, any advice to our learners who are listening across the country?
Sure. See, we look at internship as a way to, give pre-placement offers, right? So, previously you could just judge by someone's academic score. When we started our career, it used to be your academic score, and one, TCS entrance exam used to be there. If you ace it, you are into the organization. Now, two things have changed. Number one is that there has been a democratization on what people are learning. Today, one of my, very successful, star programmer doesn't even come from computer science background, at all, right? But, if someone has a will to learn, and someone has that tenacity to learn, they can actually learn, and they can actually do much better, right? So hence, internship today has become one way to check that whether we are doing justice, and we are not letting someone go that in one test he has not being able to do well. That's one aspect. The other aspect is also there has to be whenever you hire someone, you're looking, all organizations, they look for a long-term match, essentially, right? No one wants to hire someone and 3 months later, 5 months later, want to have any sort of bad experience either way. So internship is a great way for us to also know that whether there is a match in the mentality, right? Again, being a product company, there are certain things that we look for. Now, one of the things what we definitely see that today, just the score, someone has got a 9 CGPA, for example, he might not be selected in the internship. Someone might got a 7.5, but he has done, 3 projects, for example. His GitHub profile has got 2-3 interesting activities they have, done, right? So the market is very competitive, and everyone has got equal opportunity. So we want to see, and to all of our fresher friends, don't sit idle, right? Do something on your own. Put up some GitHub, something on GitHub. Maybe you have learned something from one tutorial itself, but do it completely. Take that ownership, because today employees are looking for that ownership. They are trying to say that, can this person move one step ahead if I can give him the right sort of support. So that would be my request, that today, yes, numbers matter, but number is not the beyond or end all, and your internships matter, your results matter, because today, at the end of the day, you will be hired, you will be promoted based on the results that you do. Doesn't matter from which background you are coming.
Oh, thank you, Shiladitya. Extremely heartening thoughts, if I may use that phrase, especially to all our learners across the country who are listening in, that your scores don't matter. Eventually, it is how you approach it. Be busy, do projects, put them on GitHub, show a proof of the work that you do and the ownership that you can take. Wonderful. Thank you for that. Coming to you, Arijit, you mentioned that while the solutions on Inspira today also are developing capabilities where computers and tools are doing the work of monitoring, analyzing data, a lot of AI also being brought into services that you provide. What is the take for learners who are getting into their first job? Are those first jobs reducing? Is that fear true, or no, that's not the case? What are your thoughts on, as technology evolves, what is in it for someone who's starting their careers?
Yeah, this is a very good question actually. So let me say something here, that we at a point of time when we were doing our engineering, right, we were of course of the opinion that we have to learn new things because technology was evolving. But now what I've seen, if you go through teenagers textbooks and the kind of subjects they study in schools, I was very surprised. I saw my daughter reading data analytics in class 8, right? And there were certain, jargons and terminologies which we have started developing maybe about a couple of years back, right? And she knows it from class 8. So I think they are already started evolving. Okay, they don't wait for that final day will come and they will get into AI or they'll get into cybersecurity. Nothing like that. They're already well equipped. What they need is to brush up those, right, at regular intervals. See, cybersecurity is a very wide subject, right? A person dealing with SIM may not be acquainted with the technology called DAM, right? Or a person knowing DAM, he or she may not be acquainted with something called a SOAR or a UEBA or maybe XDR, which is the most evolving technology now. But the basics has to be there. What I have seen, that we recruit a lot of youngsters, maybe out from the college or the freshers, right? Maybe in our projects or in-house cybersecurity centers. So let me tell you that cybersecurity, there are two parts to it. One is which we call as a captive SOC, right? A captive security operations center, where a customer builds up its own cybersecurity. So what Inspira as an organization does, we provide all the solutions and then we deploy resources there. And there are resources in different domains which we require and different skill sets. So in the say L1 engineer, right? Starting from an L1 engineer, he may not be that much equipped, but he should know how to monitor the solutions. L2, when it comes to, he should understand to rectify the solutions. And a L3 is the expert. Now, this is when we deploy resources at site. But we have our own MSOC, which we call a managed SOC also. Now, we have got about 5 cyber fusion centers across the globe, where we are catering to different clients across the globe from our cyber fusion centers. Now, there we require the best in the world, because, it's nothing like this that we do not require freshers over there. We obviously require freshers over there, because unless the freshers come in, then the evolving of technologies won't happen, right? We get ideas from those freshers that what are the new kind of cyber attacks which may happen, right? And they are fast learners, because at that age, they are the fast learners. So I feel that, freshers do have a very good chance to get into it. But again, I'm telling you, the basics has to be very strong. That is what we are not finding nowadays. Way back about 15-20 years back, any engineer, L1 engineer, can get into us. When we used to send them at site, used to go at site, rectify those problems and come back with a very peace of mind thing that we have done it. But nowadays, when we send an L1 engineer, the first thing he does is to call up the L2 or the L3, because they know that their job is limited. They have to just inform their superiors. That should not happen, because if you want to grow, then you have to start rectifying also, right? So that is what is something I want to highlight here. And when it comes to the AI part, which you were referring, that how we are doing that. So we have got different tie-ups with organizations. Someone talked about deepfake. So the person who introduced deepfake globally, that person has started an organization of his own in Romania, right? So we have also tied up with them, and we have actually started giving solutions to different government departments also, and different banking and PSU sectors also. So the company's name is humans.ai. You can definitely search it. It's a very interesting organization. So what they have done, they have built up a robo. So that robo, you can place it on your premises, or that robo can be installed on your desktop or laptops also. So it does the work of your personal assistant, right? So what we have seen that, the L1, since they generally monitor, so we put up that robo over there, and that robo will do that job for you. Okay, so they will sensitize that there's a threat coming, or whatever questions you ask, right, pertaining to that solution, that robo will be there to answer. So that's why I was referring to that point, that L1's job should not end up doing the monitoring. They should go to something little higher of rectifying the issues also, right? Because AI is no more a tool now, right? So it is evolving fast, and we have to adapt accordingly.
No, thank you, Arijit. You're absolutely right. It is, with technology available to support, AI available to support, it is important that the students who are starting their careers also develop skills, have strong basics, problem-solving capabilities, as you mentioned, so that they take ownership of opportunities that they have to solve problems. Thank you. Coming to you, Colonel Santosh, we work with a lot of our centers have run courses on cybersecurity where we try and get more girls into cybersecurity. The gender mix, if we see within the industries that recruit from us, is a challenge, is not a well-balanced gender mix from what I have seen. What are your experiences? You work with leading organizations across the country. Is it still a challenge to be addressed? And what would you tell our students, many of them who are girls who want to get into the field of cybersecurity? Over to you, Santosh.
Firstly, I disagree with this particular statement, because nowadays there's nothing called a gender issue, at least in the cyber or any field for that matter. Because I've been in the army also, for that matter. I will say there's nothing called as we are selective about big girls. It's all about the skill set a person holds. You just mentioned about problem solving skills, analytical skill. What I see people miss is the communication skill and attention to detail also. So, and I feel, I'll tell you simple, in my organization, in the corporate, I'll come to the corporate directly. Whenever I wanted someone to work in pre-sales, I always felt girls were better because they had attention to detail. They used to make the proposals properly, make sure that there are no grammatical mistakes, make sure the client is there. Whenever there was a sales side, I would prefer, I'd say, I'm using the word prefer. I'm not saying only that. I would prefer a male candidate because he has to travel overnight journeys, he has to go and get. And when the developer is a mix, anyone working from home and who's able to contribute to my project or whatever it's in hand, it doesn't matter whether it's a male or a female. It matters to most to a company that whether that particular person is actually he is in line or in sync with the goal of that institution or not. So nowadays you should forget that thing, and we should never speak of this thing of gender bias, at least in the IT or cyber world as such. Because but let me tell you, if you ask me who does better, then I may tilt towards the female, I mean the girls as such, who do better, because they're more passionate towards the work also, how they're passionate in the house. So, and the boys are a bit, yeah, they do the job, but they ask for the pound of flesh also in the same way. So that is that. And in forensic, at least wherever there's analyst job, or where someone's life is at stake, from your report, someone is going to get penalized. I found that the attention to detail, communication skills required. So in the analyst role, I feel that the girls do a better job, and the boys. So if I'm a team leader, I have a few males, females. I decide on what job role I have to put them so that I get the maximum output and efficiency from both of them. So it's a balance.
So there are no barriers.
Yeah, there are no barriers. Now in my team, I have more girls than boys. Let me tell you that. But that doesn't mean that it's there. Yes.
I'm so pleased to hear that, because many of the organizations that we have seen today, that mix is getting there, but still some way to go. But I'm happy to hear the work that you're doing, having a proper good mix. Thank you, Colonel Santosh. Shiladitya, coming to you, you have had the transition of from a services organization doing a job to your entrepreneurial journey. We work with some students who also have an aspiration to start something of their own. I'm sure there have been lessons. There have been those nights where you doubted the journey, would see the success that it is seeing today? What are the lessons, or you may want to share some experience from that journey, Shiladitya?
Sure. So, just to give a background, I'm a first generation entrepreneur. So no one in our, anyways, Bengalis are not known to be very entrepreneurial. So it was some stroke of luck where
Then my
I
founder is also a Bengali, by the way.
Oh, very nice. Good to know that. So, I was actually heading the International Executive Education Program at ISP, and we used to do a lot of programs for senior leaders in pharmaceuticals. And one of the issues when I was sitting in the classroom, they always say that these sales teams, when we are training them, no one is paying attention. So what can we do about that, right? So then I thought that at that point of time, I'm talking about 2014, 15, iPads and these things suddenly has slowly started coming in India, and they were like being given to the sales team. So I found out that can we use the concept of in B2C, if you see people engage with credit points, right? People engage with Paytm, no one is doing anything to that, but there is some sort of gamification element, right? So where you have got leaderboards points, say you get a scratch card and things like that. So the initial idea was that can we use the same concept, which we know that as B2C customers, they are getting engaged on, we can drive in B2B, right? So can we make these quizzes gamified, right? So, with that idea, we created a prototype, and, to one of the participants who had, were looking for that, I, reached out and said that, look, we are thinking about this kind of a solution. If you're interested, we can see. So the first lesson I would say is, we have to find at least B2B, that is my area of expertise, business to B2C, B2C, I have got no experience, but you need to understand that if there is a business problem, because the good part about B2B is that if there is a business problem, businesses are willing to spend money to solve that problem. B2C, we never know whether someone will, a lot of apps gets a lot of virality, but they cannot, get the money, because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship should not be, sometimes today when we look at Shark Tank, we think it's very easy. Not all of them, whoever coming there, they have faced a lot of difficulties. So nothing is easy. We should not glamorize and think that, 99% of 95 to 99% of startups fail, right? So it is very difficult. We should be aware of that. But if you understand that there is a business problem, and if you come up with a solution, you will get some customers. That is the first part, right? The second thing I also think is that they say fortune favors the brave, or we say someone says he got lucky. In business, no one gets lucky. Only you have to always be prepared. I'll give you one example. So around 2016-17, I don't recall. So it was 15th of August. Okay, so we were working out of there's a India's largest incubator, T Hub in Hyderabad, right? So we had taken our office there. We were working from there, and normally 15th of August, obviously no one comes, but we obviously as startup we used to work every day in those point of time. So we were working, and we were the only company who were working. Okay, and some senior folks from Salesforce came in, and they wanted to show some startup, but no one else was there. Right, we were the only people. So we got introduced, right, and these guys liked what we were doing. And after it was a good meeting. So after 2-3 months, this gentleman was in charge of, for the first time, Salesforce wanted to do a startup valley in the Dreamforce conference, which is the largest, Salesforce conference in San Francisco. And they wanted some participation from Asia Pacific. And incidentally, this gentleman was reached out, and he mentioned that, I have seen a nice startup, I met, and that led to our first being invited to Salesforce, and more importantly, getting exposure to the US market. Now 70% plus of our revenue comes from the US market, but we wouldn't have gone to US on our own. We, at that point of time, we didn't have that capability or that vision. But I'm saying that if you are what we say, if you're lucky, maybe definitely we were lucky, but also we were there on 15th of August working, right? So that is the other thing. So we have to be prepared, and we need to be getting a problem to be solved. And the last thing is that we should never let it go. Sometimes, yes, an idea doesn't work, right? Anyone who comes into B2B, entrepreneurship, I would say 2 years you should give without questioning yourself. Okay, don't question yourself whether I'm in the right business. These 2 years you should focus on trying to get the business right. If it doesn't happen after 2 years, yes, please leave. There's always, corporate world is always looking for. Now there's a lot of focus on corporate who want to take entrepreneurs whose business has not worked out because they have shown ownership, they have shown dedication, they have seen rejection, right? So that is all open, right? But don't think कि 3 months में कुछ नहीं हुआ तो I'm going to leave it, right? So that would be my 3 lessons from entrepreneurship point of view.
Patience for 2 years at least, and persevering that for a couple of years. I think patience came up when we were discussing Colonel Santosh earlier as well, as an important skill for someone to make a career, and very pertinent point, Shiladitya, that you need to be at it, stay for a couple of years, grab opportunities, even though you're lucky. August 15th story, I didn't know that, but that was.
I would like to add here, it's if you
Yes.
add passion and patience, I think it will be more.
Yes.
Passion plus patience is the mantra. True, and I have many more questions to ask Colonel Santosh. I would love to know some of the forensic cases that you would have been involved. Some I know of national importance as well. I would definitely like to take the opportunity to ask you. You have transitioned from army into corporate, and on forensics, you're right now working with creating tools. Now these tools are also, you champion the Make in India for developing products. How good are we today as compared to, I know, organizations from Israel, organizations from US and other countries, leading countries in the cybersecurity space? Have we made our mark yet, or how far are we? I'm sure you will reach there, but how far are we? Your thoughts?
Yes, thanks for this question, because I'm very passionate for Make in India products. And let me tell you, in the software segment, we are not far behind from the US or Israeli products. Like I'll tell you a simple example. In SysTools, we make email examiner. So it's an email forensic business email compromise tool. It's the topmost in the world as of now. Yes, we do have competitors in the form of Intel and some other good tools which are there. But in the hardware segment, we are far behind. Wherever there is integrated products, we are far behind. Wherever there's a hardware component involved, we are far behind. But yes, we are going ahead. Let me tell you, when I started, I decided what to make first. So when I was in the government, I found we used to buy these Faraday bags, for seizing of equipment. It used to cost us 15 to 20,000 bucks when we used to import it. But I decided, we made it, and we were selling it at 3,000 plus GST, around 4,000 rupees. So the drop was, around 1/5 of the cost. Then of the forensic workstation, we used to buy it for 50 lakhs. Once we made it, we are selling it from now. Everyone is making it to Make in India, and they are selling it less than 10 lakhs. So you can see again 1/5 of the drop. I don't say I invented this, but I made the market competitive, or I tried to disrupt the market to make for our benefit as such. I would like to mention one case so it will inspire a lot of students or people who are working here. Although, I'm still bound by the Official Secret Acts and the confidentiality part, but which is in the open, which is in the Google, everyone can Google. There are 2 to 3 books written on this case. On the Pulwama attack case, you must have heard, where in 2019, our martyrs, we had martyrs of a CRPF convoy. So in that case, there were few devices which we came, and when I was heading at CERT India and Ministry, we solved that case. So that case is very close to my heart, because we were able to derive. So it showed the world what forensics can do. It was able to give a conclusive report to prove that these attacks were, they came from somewhere else, who the people were involved, what all they did. So this is very inspirational. So like this, there are more than 1,000 cases which me and my team, because nothing is done alone. It is done by the team in forensics, at least, because we are a whole bunch of people. You are just the head and the signing authority. So such kind of cases really inspire us, motivate us. And so I tell the students that's you do one such case and your life is, you have lived your life. So that's how close it is. So it is a very inspirational field. I really welcome everyone. But yes, as even Arijit and my second panelist also said, you have to come full prepared in any field you want to get into. You can't come half-heartedly. So as again, I repeat, passion, patient, in mentorship, internship. These go hand in hand if you have to do well.
Wow, passion, patience, mentorship, internship. On that inspirational note, I'm going to request Chiranjeev to take over for the questions. I know we are way past 15:45, which is what we had originally planned for. But an amazing session, and I learned a few things. I'm inspired. I would also request all three of you, Richit, Santosh, Colonel Santosh, and Shiladitya, to take an opportunity if you can interact with our students in our centers. If you wish to have an online session, more than happy. I think that would be just wonderful. On that note, request, yes, Colonel Santosh, sorry. Yeah, okay, perfect. Requesting Chiranjeev to coordinate for the question Q&As. I know there are a few questions or many questions. Over to you, Chiranjeev.
Thanks a lot, Amay. Thanks a lot, Mr. Guha, Mr. Shiladitya, and Kanal for this lovely session. But the only thing is, to be very honest, now as I can see from the three chat windows that we had actually enabled for coming up with the questions, if I count it properly, we have received more than 39, 40, somewhere around 45 questions. To be very honest, for the interest of time, we will just restrict with few of the questions. And let's start with the one which had been asked by Abu Shah Sheikh. He's asking, how do you see the role of AI and automation impacting future job opportunities? This has been briefly discussed already. I think Mr. Guha and all, they had actually already highlighted on this. The next question seems to be interesting, that also if I have a product idea, what should I do to let people know more about that product? Like how to reach to more people and getting their feedbacks. So maybe Shiladitya, if you can just slightly highlight on this particular part.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So firstly, if we have a product idea, the first thing should be to create a MVP or a minimum viable product which you can show to a potential customer. Okay, a lot of times what we do is that we wait for the perfect product to be created, right? Because perfect product will take 3 years, right? But by that time your idea might not be valid anymore. So what we said that create anything. Today there are tools where the end user is not looking for everything, right? So that why are you creating that MVP? So that you can communicate that idea to the potential customer, right? And always the thing is that now you have to also identify to whom I should show it, right? So hopefully you understand the business problem and you know that this is the category of people. First go through your contacts or your close contact, someone you know or things like that, right? That will be the first bit. It could be a professor in your university who knows someone, right? Sometimes even if you have a great idea and if you have a reasonable MVP, by the way, all CEOs, okay, they read all mails. Okay, I cannot tell about if juniors read mails or not. All CEOs and all senior level people, anyone VP and above, they read mails. Okay, if a mail is important, and if you think about, they are not reading mails for for the benefit of you. Okay, if you think about the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, if you give him an idea which can even improve his sales productivity by 1%, you're talking about 500 crores, right? So for his own interest, he reads mails, right? So if you can then, so there is no harm even linking to someone, in LinkedIn or reaching out and showcase it. But please do your homework well. If you're showing it to a senior people, please don't waste their time. Do your homework well and make it worthwhile their time. You can always get an opportunity.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Shiladitya. Very quickly, we'll move to the next question. Someone is asking, a student is actually asking, I would actually request Colonel Santosh if you can just respond to this. Most probably, I have seen many jobs in forensics which are only in government organizations. How we can start the career in forensics, because forensics roles are coming in picture after crime. So it's basically more of a response kind of a thing rather than a proactive kind of thing. So if you can just quickly address to this.
Firstly, I would again like to correct that student. I started by saying the job is not only in government, it is everywhere. It's in corporates, right? And let me tell you, forensics has evolved. Like all three of us are saying, we are going to the next kind of technological development. So from reactive, we have moved to proactive forensics. From proactive, we are moving to predictive kind of forensics. So it is evolving and we are moving at a very fast pace. Yes, crimes happen and after forensics pitch in. But there's something called as proactive forensics where the SOC comes into play, like Arijit brought into the he's mentioned. Then what we say ki incident response teams, when we speak, when a cyber incident happens, the incident is going on and you're at that crime scene and trying to collect evidence. So it's not about it's not about the means it's a past scenario. It is now even pro. So proactive forensics is also there. And please remember that government is only not the place where we are employed. More employment is there in other places, even in corporates, even in say academia, in judiciary. You have now for lawyers who require forensics as this. I go to courts as expert witness. So there also they require something. You can do freelancing. You can have your own private labs. You can, it's like, you must have seen James Bond kind of movies. Those kind of environment is still there for you on a lighter side. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Karan Santosh. And for the interest of time, I'm really sorry to all of you, but your questions will be well addressed. What we'll do is we'll collate all the questions and share with our guest panelists and try to get the maximum output and circulate back with you. But I'll just end with one more question. Seems to be pretty interesting that how important, this is for Mr. Guha, if you can just kindly address to this, how important will cybersecurity become in the future job market, and what are the opportunities for the freshers? I know we had discussed about this, but I think our students are very, very interested to understand that how the freshers can actually come into this part. This question has a second part also as well, that what will be how entrepreneurial opportunities can emerge in the tech industry. So the question has two parts. You can respond as per your convenience, please.
Yeah. So cybersecurity will not become, it has already become. So it's already part of it. You're already in the race. So you can't even imagine the kind of technologies which are evolving, right? So you have to have that knowledge and understanding. But of course, getting information through informal media or maybe discussion panels, you can even get into it and try to understand. And I think someone had a question regarding only forensics in government. It is nothing like this. We recruit a lot of forensic experts in our organization, right? Both in the for the customer requirements as well as for our own requirements, right? So it's a huge potential. And let me tell you that by 2025, the researchers say that the cybersecurity only is going to reach about 20% of our GDP, only cybersecurity and AI. So that is, I think, that's answer. So you have to keep yourself up.
Thanks a lot. I think the questions are still flowing in, and I'm really sorry to all of you because we could not take your questions during the session because of the interest of time. But as I promised, we'll definitely collate all the questions and get the inputs from our guest panelists. And definitely that I'm pretty much sure that is going to enlighten all our learners as well as our facilitators across the center. I'm glad to share that we had unique system level login of more than 300 at one given point of time in the virtual streaming that is happening on YouTube. And mind you, at the center level, what is happening, one system, there are more than 30 to 40 students along with the facilitators they have logged in. So thanks a lot for this engaging session. Now, with this in place, which we never intended, we have to end the session, but definitely with a vote of thanks from our very own Shiladitya Samandar. Over to you, Shiladitya, please.
Before a vote, I do want to take this opportunity, since so many students are listening to us. I wish them all the best for the job interviews and sessions that are there tomorrow and day after. Wish you all the very best. May you all do well in the interviews and start your careers with a bang. Thank you. Shiladitya, over to you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Amay sir. Indeed, it's quite a coincidence. I was recently reading a book by Tini Dillon, and today Colonel Santosh mentioned about the attack and how an important role was played by forensics to find it. Nonetheless, I think the overall meeting can be summed up by what the four words mentioned by Colonel Santosh, passion, patience, internship, and mentorship. But however, I would like to individually thank each one of you, especially Mr. Guha, for your points where you mentioned that while the industry has moved from a single at a point in time where only voice was there, from voice to face, and today we are not only trying to fake visuals with deepfake but with voice and so many others, and as a result of which as we have progressed and so have progressed the ways to do malice, as a result of which we have to continuously keep evolving ourselves to ensure that we are one step ahead of the ill intentions or intentions which are trying to do something which is not appropriate. Again, thank you so much for the lovely insights, Mr. Guha. Coming to Shiladitya for his wonderful insights, I think I'm not sure if in any other forum I would have heard the perspectives of doing business B2B and B2C in a digital domain and how to take things to the market. And definitely, I feel that these are insights that would be very important for our learners. Also, the very common thread between all three of you which was very critical was no matter what you're trying to do, but please build your capabilities. Have the patience and persistence to work on yourself, build your capabilities. There is gender bias is probably a misnomer today, but having said so, people are not recruiting for the person; they are recruiting for the capability that you carry in the interview room. So definitely a very critical part of it. And finally, and thank you, Shiladitya. And finally, Colonel Santosh, I think nothing can be more motivating than coming from you that A, one has to work hard, that everybody understands. B, that even after being a fresher, there are opportunities. C, that the government is not the only place where people are hiring. There are forensic roles which are also there in private firms and firms with BFSI and so on and so forth. Thank you very much for those insights. Collectively, I think we have spoken about sectors which are very strong or very stringent due to compliances and other prescriptive norms that people can aim for, especially in the field of BFSI, people in the field of media, and so on and so forth. Uh, People should also work on making their profile, especially in LinkedIn and other places, stronger with ensuring that they take ownership, they complete their GitHub projects and showcase their projects, and definitely have the passion to do it all. Thank you so very much. I don't think that we could have had a more better and holistic understanding of this field from anywhere else. Thank you.
Thank you all. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.